Report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all go to blackfilesnews.com/shop, support the movement. You can get yourself some paraphernalia like this right here, or different colors, shapes, and sizes with these things. And we got other products too, man. Support us as we continue to support y'all by giving y'all that real. Because there's a lot of misinformation swimming out here in this information stratosphere. You know what I mean? And a lot of y'all be grabbing that and breathing that air too. But you know what I mean? You suffocating yourself. So keep effing with us, man. Keep with BFN. Now, yesterday, Thursday, 64,000, over 64,000 new coronavirus cases in the U.S. That's actually the most it's been since July for a day. You're also talking about the past 24 hours, 1,000 people in the U.S. is said to have died from COVID-19. Now that's small compared to like when we were at the height of the pandemic. You know how many people were dying or whatever. But it is still crazy to think, like, when I first put out BFN World Broadcast number 17, y'all should check that out on YouTube, aka Rona. We was talking about 8,000 deaths worldwide. You know what I mean? So now we're talking about 1,000 in a day in the US. But at the height of the pandemic, you was talking about 1,000 in a day in New York. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. But still, throughout the US, every region is reporting an increase in hospitalization. You have states like Wisconsin that's getting a record surges, 3,700 new cases yesterday alone, and they have a test positivity rate of 20%, which is now the highest in the world. And still, Trump is going to have a packed campaign rally in Janesville, Wisconsin tomorrow. Now, everybody just, stay woke and stay focused. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, has now it's come out, according to the Wall Street Journal, that White House officials have actually been editing line by line guidelines that the CDC has been put out about like social distancing and rolling back measures on like having public gatherings like in church for choirs and stuff like that, whatever. So they're tampering with the rules that the world is supposed to follow, that's set by public officials, but it's really being set by White House officials. So guess what? COVID-19 is spreading all throughout the White House. Green War and graduation, man. Report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. So now, I've been telling y'all about the U.S. COVID-19 infection cases and all of that, but globally, we are just yesterday and on Thursday, there were 330,000 infections reported worldwide. That brings the total number of people infected with COVID-19 around the world to 39 million. Now, times that by 2 when you're at 1% of the global population, basically. So, some people might see that as a means to panic. Some people might not. You know what I'm saying? These shits double. You know what I mean? It might take a month or two, but then that should have doubled, and then that should have doubled, and then it could double again. So it increases exponentially. I don't know. We still have yet to see. But you have places like in France where they have coronavirus restrictions spread across the entire country again. And this comes though as like the police actually raided senior government and health officials for they raided the homes of these people for their handling of the coronavirus or whatever, as they're trying to like keep the hospitals from being overwhelmed. And also in Brazil, they had 152K as far as deaths go due to the COVID-19 or whatever, with about 5.1 million infections. They're only third behind India and US in infections. Green War and graduation. Report of the New World, though, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report, man. Make sure y'all support the movement by actually creating a profile of Black Files News LPAI. That's blackfilesnews.com/LPAI, an acronym for Let's Post About It. And it allows us to actually have, it's basically our own social media platform it's unfiltered, without the risk of like Zuckerberg or Dorsey actually, hiding your content. But it also allows you to converse with more tools. You can actually upload documents, Word, Excel documents, coding, you know what I mean, your own videos as well as YouTube videos, and watch them on the spot. It gives us a great tool to actually communicate and get down to some nitty-gritty truths that we're going to need as a people, as a community, to progress forward. Whether you're talking to African American community, the hip-hop community, the American community, or shit, even the global community. I mean, you could come on there and start your own forum for things to talk about or whatever. So definitely make sure you it'll definitely be love and support for us. We got perks for that coming on the way. We're just trying to gather the audience for it at the moment. Now, moving on to this news though, the World Health Organization has actually announced that remdesivir. This is a drug that actually was granted emergency use back in May by the Federal Drug Administration in the U.S. to actually be used to treat COVID-19 during this pandemic. The WHO announced that remdesivir is not effective in preventing death due to COVID-19, coronavirus disease, SARS-CoV-2, or that Rona, you know what I mean, or BFN World Broadcast number 17, you know what I mean. Make sure y'all check that out. But nevertheless, this is significant. They did it after a trial of 11,000 patients, and this follows like smaller, less rigorous studies that were actually done that concluded that that remdesivir was actually good at reducing the number of days you may be hospitalized due to COVID-19. Now, Trump has actually used this in his COVID-19 recovery or whatever. And granted, there's companies that stand to make money off of this or whatever. So it's important that we know whether it could work or not, because honestly, we're dealing with this administration. They especially the president himself got his teeth sunk in a lot of different money-making mechanisms that are actually generating income due to COVID-19. And we know he hundreds of millions in debt. So everybody stay woke. Green War on Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Chief Scientist at the World Health Organization, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, actually has said that the average person, younger, healthier people, might have to wait for over a year before they can actually receive a vaccine against COVID-19. That's until 2022. So I have to tell the younger and healthier people this, because right now in the United States, we currently have a president through Operation Warp Speed and them trying to restrict the FDA's measures to restrict or limit emergency use authorization. They're trying to put a vaccine out on the market, and they stand to make money off of it. So I mean, this is my message to the young people. You know what I'm saying? If you in your 30s or younger, there are real scientists out here that are warning that you ain't even gonna have no official vaccine until 2022. Now, you gonna believe the scientists or you gonna believe Trump? I mean, everybody stay woke. Green War on Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So Supreme Court Justice nominee, right-wing Supreme Court Justice nominee, Amy Coney Barrett, actually her confirmation hearing by the Senate Judiciary Committee, led by Senator Lindsey Graham, who might even lose his spot out there in South Carolina, by the way. But nevertheless, Barrett, her confirmation is finished. We talking about a 4-day rush confirmation. It was one, we talking about 8-hour questioning days, you know what I'm saying, of her taking on questions, whatever. But even though through all of that shit, she, didn't really state her position on things that people were very curious about, as far as her being a right-wing judge, dealing with the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, voting rights. We don't really know her position on whether, you can, even as far as whether there could be, whether the voting for Trump or the presidency will actually go towards the Supreme Court. None of that. So, it's very odd. But nevertheless, the Judiciary Committee is actually set to vote on the matter on October 22nd. And also, the full Senate is likely to vote on it by October 26th. Just over a week before the election day. We'll see how that turns out. Green War on Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So yesterday you had long voting lines in definitely in these battleground states like PA, Texas, Florida, where you have in total throughout the country, it said 17 million people have voted. This is a record. You're talking about 15% of the U.S. electorate, and while we're about 3 weeks away from election day. So this is record breaking, and we'll see how this turns out, because in these battleground states you had a lot of people already vote. So it's going to at the very least be a highly interesting election. Green War on Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Now, they canceled the debates that they were supposed to have between the presidents yesterday, where Donald Trump, since the last debate, has actually tested positive for coronavirus disease 2019, and And so as a result, they wanted to have make the debate virtual. I guess maybe Trump felt, because I don't know, maybe because he couldn't spread the virus or he couldn't talk over people, whatever. He refused to have a virtual debate with Joe Biden. I think he also didn't like the idea of somebody having the power to silence him. So they ended up having town halls. Joe Biden had his town hall with ABC. And in the town hall, he basically had defended elements of the crime bill from 1994 that he co-authored that actually is often linked to mass incarceration, especially of our people or black people or whatever. I'm going to say, upon my research though, I'm going to throw my opinion in there. I have grown to become skeptical of that. I think there was a lot of elements that were already in play, and there's studies that show that that didn't directly influence mass incarceration to where it is today in the way that I think oftentimes people of color think it has. I think what played more of a part in that, even though that did allow Clinton to introduce the 3 strikes rule, Joe Biden wasn't necessarily so pro the 3 strikes rule that we could kind of attribute that to him. So I will give him that. But at the same time, if anything, mass incarceration, I would say, came from the rules that were set before Clinton came into the administration, from Nixon with the war on drugs all the way up until Reagan with them bringing crack in. So, that's that or whatever. But one thing he did say at the town hall that I wasn't feeling was, again, he's defending his stance on police, talking about he's not for defunding the police. He's into strengthening the police force and strengthening the relationship between the people and the police. That to me is a dub. It's a dub on that, because at the end of the day, that's what we've been trying to do, and they have already given more money into these police forces. And what do? First off, you have to fight corruption, make sure it's even going towards creating the programs that you want to see created anyway. That's first off. Second off, now you're talking about, look at what has been done with the police money that has been sanctioned off. Look at the hand-me-downs that they're getting from Homeland Security. You know what I'm saying? It's only contributed to police becoming more militarized and us becoming more of a police state. So the fact that he still has that stance means that that's how the police forces throughout the country are going to use him. They're going to carry him just like that. Now I'm on the motherfucking dickhead Donald, because I was going to debate these motherfuckers before they canceled the Jackass Joe and Dickhead Donald before they canceled the debate. But Trump actually had it on NBC. And shout out to Savannah Guthrie, because she actually was the person grilling him or whatever for the town hall debate. And a lot of people criticize NBC for having that. I actually think it was a smart play, because by you even being there, first off, you legitimize what you tend to call fake news. So that's one aspect of it. And two, you got she really went at him, asking them shit that other networks might not have asked, whatever. But she initially asked about him testing, whatever. Trump actually, and made him look silly, because Trump said he takeaways from it. He didn't acknowledge that. He said he didn't know if he had been tested before his debate with Joe Biden a couple weeks ago or whatever, which he was supposed to. So it's unknown when he actually contracted COVID-19. He said he doesn't remember, and that's a lie. You would know if you got tested before you went into your first presidential debate of 2020. That's bullshit. Second off, he falsely said that 85% of people who wear masks contract COVID. That's a lie. Third off, he didn't deny that he was actually $400 million in debt. But if you follow Black Fox News, BFN, doing my BFN World Broadcast, all the way going back to World Broadcast number 11, we've already acknowledged that. And then fourth of all, she asked him to address this QAnon conspiracy of the Democrat pedophile ring. And he was just I don't know about QAnon. You saying QAnon, I know that they don't like pedophiles, but I don't know about them not actually wanting to. He was basically just claiming ignorance or whatever, and it was obviously bullshit. But he didn't disavow the conspiracy theory itself, because he probably would have lost the radical right, as he was trying to say about Joe Biden with the radical left. He would have definitely lost the radical right. Green Wall graduation though. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So ahead of the town hall meetings that they had last night, or whatever, President Trump actually had a rally in Greensville, North Carolina, where he had packed out 2,000 people, whatever. Typical Trump rally, shoulder to shoulder, no mask on. He ain't got no mask, so they probably just it's a COVID party. You know what I mean? I'm being facetious, but it's very likely though. All his rallies have the potential of being super spreaders. Let's be real. Nevertheless, though, and that's assuming that coronavirus really is moving out here like we think it is, or whatever. Which honestly, the hospitalizations and show, not so much the deaths, but we don't know. We'll get into that. Nevertheless, he actually admitted to something. It looked like he was basically saying that he got the U.S. Marshals to come in and kill Michael Ray Noel. This was an extrajudicial killing. Like I already reported to y'all on how witnesses have come out and already spoke on that incident, basically saying U.S. Marshals pulled up on them, you know what I'm saying, hopped out their cars, they ain't even announced who they was or whatever, they was pulled up in unmarked cars, and basically shot dude down. Michael Ray Noel was an anti-fascist protester that was at a protest in what I believe was Portland, Oregon or whatever, but he's in Washington State. But nevertheless, he was accused of killing a far-right Trump-supporting protester and they were there to actually counter protest against what they were out there for, whatever, so-called Antifa, them being out there in protest, going against police brutality, all of that stemming from the murder of George Floyd. Nevertheless, what Trump said at this rally was basically like, you know what I mean, they went in there, we called them in, they went in there, they didn't want to arrest him, and within 15 minutes it was done or whatever. And then he was also in an interview on Fox News recently talking about how there has to be retribution. Michael Ray Noel was believed to have killed a right-wing protester. Now that by itself should let you know that that's like you're okay with extrajudicial killings. This is on the level of an authoritarian leader in another country or whatever, because for you to even use the word believe instead of y'all knew. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So former governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, and I'm from New Jersey, you feel me? I remember Chris Christie as a pension plan cutter. A lot of people, definitely on the liberal side of things, a lot of people hated this man. But nevertheless, he still at least proved to me to be kind of witty, politically astute, and probably why he was Trump's debate preparer for that debacle of a debate a couple weeks ago or whatever. Even though he's been like Trump's nut hugger for the past few years or whatever, he's probably smarter than dude. Nevertheless, he actually revealed yesterday that he spent the last week in intensive care unit, hospitalized from COVID-19. Now, he's one of dozens of people that contracted COVID-19 after that September 26th super spreader event that they had on the Rose Garden in the White House, where they were having a celebration for Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett. Now, Christie issued a statement basically saying that he was wrong for not wearing a mask at that event and wrong for not wearing a mask while preparing Trump for the debate, and he urges all Americans to basically wear their mask, follow CDC guidelines, basically. So there you have it, from the right wing, from somebody that's right next to Trump, that was out here moving like he can't be touched. That's his message to y'all. And honestly, because of who he is, even though he's like a shitbag on a lot of different levels, he's still from Jersey. Like, he gonna give it to y'all straight, man. And he always has been, even when he's been wrong. So for him to say that, I think he's being genuine with the American people. Some of y'all Republicans need to take notice. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So this jobless thing that's going on in America ever since the pandemic is getting out of control. You had 900,000 people that actually filed an initial unemployment claim within the past week. That is 65 million Americans that have actually filed for some sort of jobless claim since the start of the pandemic, and related to the pandemic. And also, there's a couple new studies that's out that's showing that 8 million Americans have actually been pushed into poverty ever since Senate Majority Leader Republican Mitch McConnell led the CARES Act. That first stimulus package that went out that got you $1,200 in your pocket or whatever, since they let that expire in July. They still have a coronavirus relief bill right now, a $3 trillion package or whatever that they're trying to decide on that they just haven't. It's called the HEROES Act, I believe, but they're not getting that in motion. They worried about getting that Supreme Court justice in there. You know what I mean? How fucked up is that? Green War and Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So over in Kansas City, you actually had activists chaining themselves to the Jackson County Courthouse, basically protesting against evictions. You have this group called KC Tenants, a bunch of activists that basically have called evictions during the pandemic acts of violence. I mean, aren't they? But that's what happened with that Green War and Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. It's crazy how shit come around full circle and how a nigga be right all the time. But y'all remember that Jussie Smollett situation that happened in Chicago where, now the world believes that he faked his own mugging? And I say the world because everybody doesn't believe that. You know what I'm saying? There's just holes left in it. The police department in Chicago tried to hit him with a bunch of charges and none of them shits hit. You know what I'm saying? And the police were actually out here talking about the situation and in an open case, basically saying that he was trying to make the city of Chicago look bad, as if they needed help. Now, the crazy thing about it, the officer that was actually frontlining at all of these news stations talking about the open case, this was at the time police superintendent Eddie Johnson. Well, now he's ex-police superintendent Eddie Johnson because Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot actually fired him after a bunch of mounting accusations of police misconduct, and he was found asleep at the wheel one time, heavily drinking and all of that or whatever. But Eddie Johnson has just been accused in a lawsuit that was filed late Wednesday by his former driver and fellow police officer Cynthia Donald of sexually assaulting her, raping her for 3 years. This was talking about, she actually said he committed, in quotes, shockingly violent, in quote, acts during their 3 years, and he even tried to delete cell phone evidence after an inspector general had actually looked into the matter. So I want y'all to think about that when you're thinking about how these police officers were going around, specifically Eddie Johnson, trying to talk about how Jussie Smollett was trying to make the city look bad. Now look at the people that's when do we start believing police over the black people anyway? You know what I'm saying? So what, he think he the gay Tupac? He was wilding on that, Jussie. But anyway, and this is also, we're talking about a police department that even in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, you had a 20-member community leader organization in Chicago that came to the police department with 155 recommendations, and the PD decided to only take on 5 of the recommendations of police reform that they could take on. Now there's a video online that's actually going viral as far as this kid being interviewed by the press saying what do you do to stop the murders or whatever, and he who's doing the murders, and the kid responds y'all killing us, talking about the police, you know what I'm saying? It's the police and all of that. And I have commented quite a few times on the fact that they have a felony murder rule that will allow for somebody to be killed in a crime or whatever, and then that murder gets put on someone else instead of the police. So a lot of shady shit going on. Good thing that Eddie Johnson, get him the fuck out of here, man. And feel sorry for Cynthia Donald. Hopefully she ain't part of no fuck shit either, because I'll but Eddie Johnson gotta go. Green War and Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Hey, yo, it's fucked up what happened to William Gonzalez, man. This is a 22-year-old kid out there in Los Angeles, and he was actually at a gathering that was celebrating them winning the NBA championship. The Lakers won, you know what I'm saying? Shout out LeBron and all of that, and Anthony Davis and all of that. But you actually had motherfucking the LAPD come out and say that was an unlawful gathering, which is very much so, because everybody's supposed to be social distancing and COVID and all of that. This ain't 2019, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, the LAPD actually came down on the people that they call revelers or whatever, them being out there publicly gathering. And they actually shot this man in the face, not with a bullet, but with a projectile, less lethal one. it hits dude in the face, breaks his eye socket, and makes his fucking eye explode. Dude lost vision in his left eye. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Fucked up. Another person that got fucked up by the police or whatever. Other people did, including the man that lost 8 teeth. Like, y'all gotta chill the fuck out, man. Green Wall on Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, let y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report, man. Make sure you check out my mixtape at @still_I grind. Notice I ain't give you a website where you could download it or anything like that. It's all on IG, the first Instagram mixtape ever. You know, me just spitting that fire over new beats, and I'm adding more shit to it. So, you know what I'm saying? It's the gift that keep on giving, man. Actually, give it a follow, give it some likes, some shares. Whatever you do, make sure you check that out. Give it them views. Now, moving on. You heard me say I'm the street supporter of the New World Order, so I gotta let you know when shit like this happen. Over in the University of Miami, they actually use a network of surveillance cameras and facial recognition technology in order to identify these students that actually took part in the student-led protest last month going against the president's order to resume in-person classes. So they had a protest about this. Now, this is according to the Miami New Times, which actually says that they used the technology and they were able to identify the students, and then they sent all of the students emails basically saying that they need to report to university administrators for questioning. So that lets you know what type of time we in, man. It's getting real spooky out here. Green Wall and Graduate. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop. Get yourself some fly gear, paraphernalia, and all of that. Also check out blackfoxnews.com/opportunities, where you can actually do business with us, especially all you hungry entrepreneurs out there, or even you established ones. We got advertisement deals for you. We can get you on multiple platforms across and get you thousands of views. So, you know what I mean? Rock with us as we continue to rock with y'all, giving y'all this news update. A reflection of the times we in. Over in Colorado, they actually had their largest wildfire in the state's history, the Cameron Peak fires, which has taken 167,000 acres in Fort Collins, Colorado. So, you know what I mean? Keep your thoughts and prayers and positive thoughts and prayers out for the people in that area. Green Wall Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So over in Yemen, you actually had the first large-scale prison exchange between the Yemen Houthi rebels and the Saudi-backed Yemen government. This is the first large-scale prison exchange that they've had since 2014, when civil war broke out, with the U.S.-backed Saudi-led coalition going in there warring with the Houthi rebels and natives in Yemen and all of that, whatever. And I have to say U.S.-backed because the United States has continued, the warmongering U.S. that I live in has continued to actually do these arms deals. And this is under Obama as well as being under Trump, has done these major arms deals that have basically put weapons in the hands of Saudi Arabia, and them motherfuckers don't play. So that has taken place, and since 2014, this civil war has actually pushed the country, pushed like 8 million people towards the brink of like starvation and famine and all of that. The United Nations has had to make shouts and judgments about it, whatever. It's gotten serious. But now with this prisoner exchange, United Nations envoy Martin Griffith actually said that this is an important milestone towards actually reaching some sort of like peace and civility in the region. So we'll see how that turns out. Also, 200 Houthi rebels were allowed to return home from Oman in exchange for 2 American prisoners that they had. One of them, named Mikhail Gedada, he actually said that he was in prison for 899 days with 2 years and 6 months in solitary confinement, and he said it was hell. They playing for keeps over there, man. Green Wall and Graduation. For the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News Report. So while he was on family vacation, former Mexican Defense Secretary Salvador Cienfuegos, that last name hard as fuck by the way, but Cienfuegos actually was arrested at LAX, the LA International Airport or whatever, and this actually was he was detained by the United States DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, right? And according to Mexican magazine Proceso, this was actually part of a drug trafficking and corruption probe. So he's going down. Now, mind you, he was actually at his position under Mexican Presidente, the former president, Enrique Peña Nieto, from 2012 to 2018. And you know, we'll see how this ends up turning out, because everybody know that there's a lot of drugs that come from Mexico or whatever, but I guess they're trying to get to the bottom of who. In 2014, he was also in his position when it was said that those 43 students from a teacher's college in Ayotzinapa, Guerrero, had actually disappeared and are assumed to have been murdered. Nevertheless, these people have, you know, since the current president has come into play, AMLO, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, he's actually vowed to, like, you know, make that right and, you know, arrest any soldiers that were involved in that. So, you know, it's looking real grim for Cienfuegos. Green War and Graduation. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News Report. If you follow me, man, you probably heard me give a lot of rec to the Catholic Church. I think they're despicable. But they, you know what I'm saying, with all of the child abuse crimes that they have against their jack, as well as like the rape crimes and sex trafficking, all of that shit. And these is facts. I'm not just spewing no conspiracy theory bullshit like I'm QAnon or something. But there are some Catholic priests that do right, like Father Stephen Kelly. This is a Catholic priest who actually was sentenced to 33 months in prison due to him being part of the Kings Bay Plowshare 7, a group of people who had actually broken into the Kings Bay Naval Submarine Base in Georgia to actually protest basically against the U.S. government. And let me break it down for you. So they actually have like they have 6 nuclear submarines there, and nuclear ballistic missile submarines, right? And each submarine has 20 Trident thermonuclear weapons. Now they actually tape themselves chain themselves to these weapons or whatever, and they had crime scene tape. They had baby bottles with their own blood in it, and they had an indictment charging the U.S. with crimes against peace. So they finally